It's a nice sunny day, so we pushed the car out in the driveway so you can take a better look at it. Like I said, we've been working on this car for a while, so it's not what you might think. We've already got a lot of parts taken off of it. It's pretty well stripped on the inside. You can see the glass is out, the door's off. Pretty much the whole interior is gone except for up in the dash area. I'll show you that in a minute. But over here on the passenger side, we got the front fender off, the door. A lot of damage on this side of the car before we got it, so most of the sheet metal on this side of the car is going to have to be replaced. That door skin on the passenger side door was just a mess. Obviously the car was hit on this side at some point in the past. So if we just come around a little bit to the back, you can see this quarter panel has it's got a lot of body filler on it. We did some grinding to see how much it was, whether it was salvageable or not, and I don't think it is. I come in a little closer here. You can see that in this area we got, I don't know, about 1/4 of an inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch of filler in some spots. There are some holes in here from a dent puller that go all the way across this quarter panel, and when we originally had that door on, those holes lined up and went all the way across the passenger side door. So there was a big dent on this side of the car at some time in the past that somebody tried to repair just with a dent puller and putting some filler on. There are a couple of holes here on this flare over the wheel opening. And if I come around back here on the quarter panel, there are some more dent puller holes that I can see that go off. And the filler here in this area is probably 1/4 of an inch thick, maybe 5/16. So this quarter panel is pretty well bent up and messed up, so we're gonna have to take it off. It's beyond repair for the kind of restoration that I'm doing. I don't want to try and have spend the time to try and take care of that. So if we go around to the back, it's a little hard to see from this angle. We'll push it in the garage and give you a better look. But the passenger side of the car, the right side of the car, is a little twisted and it's higher up in the air than the driver's side. So that's just more indication of the damage that was done when the car was in some kind of an accident. And we'll talk about that more in detail after I shove it back in the garage. But for now, I just wanted to give you a quick look at the back. This car came from Nevada, so it was really in good shape as far as rust goes. Unfortunately, we have another sheet metal problem, and that's just damage, body damage to it. See, on this quarter panel again, in this area, this is all wrinkled up. It might be hard to see, but we ground off about another 1/4 of an inch, 5/16 of an inch of body filler that actually extended all the way across the trunk lid and over to this other side. So whoever, I wouldn't say restored, whoever tried to fix this car the first time didn't really try very hard. All they really tried to do was slap a bunch of filler on it and pass it off as being done. There's a big dent here which might actually be removable, and this quarter panel, except for the top in this back corner, which is pretty wrinkled up, otherwise it's in fairly decent shape. I haven't found a lot of damage on it or a lot of filler. It's got one small rust hole down here in the corner, right in front of the wheel. That's not terrible. So we'll see what we can do with this one. Maybe we'll keep it, maybe it'll have to come off. We'll have to make some more decisions about that when we get a little further into examining this side of the car. But I'm going to start on that passenger side first, since that's where most of the damage is. Moving forward, you can see we've already replaced the floor pans, and we just got some white spray paint on that just to keep them from getting rusty. It's really not a professional paint job, but we just wanted to protect that bare steel. Looking around inside, like I said, the car came from Nevada, so it's not a rust bucket. The sheet metal is in pretty good shape otherwise. There's some spots on the roof, and I'll show you those in a minute when we go back outside. Whoops. But other than that, most of the metal has been sound. Here's the dash. Like I said before, we really haven't pulled much off of that except for the instrument cluster and the glove box. But all the other wiring, the ductwork and the heater box is still in there, and I'll get around to doing that. Those will probably be good wintertime projects, since they're not really big and you don't really need to have outside space to work on that. Coming forward on this side, the driver's side door hinges need to get rebuilt. This one, the bushing is completely gone out of the top, and this lower one wiggles too. You shouldn't be able to wiggle them that by hand. Those doors are really heavy, and it should take a really heavy door to make that hinge move. So I got the kit to rebuild it, and we'll do a video on rebuilding those hinges. This fender, again, I think the car was hit on this side as well. I don't know if it was done all at once or if it got hit multiple times, but we can see some filler here. It's in the 1/8 of an inch thick range, and this lip is really badly bent. They didn't really try and straighten out that flare at the wheel opening very well. So just coming around to the front, we've already taken off the bumper and a lot of these lower parts. I have all the parts for the car, all the sheet metal. None of it was missing. Now it's just scattered around my house in places where we've been working on it. So let's go over and take a look at the roof. So here we are at the roof. This was a vinyl top car, which we have removed, and I think this is the second time the top has been off. If you know what these vinyl tops look like, they have two seams that run from the front to the back, and each seam is about 6 or 8 inches in from the edge of the door opening on the roof. And that seam obviously holds more water. It stays wetter longer than the rest of the top, so it tends to rust out the roof where the seam in the vinyl top is ahead of the rest of the roof. And that's what happened on this car. If I come in here and get in there, you can see that there are a lot of holes in the roof here. I'll try and poke my finger up through this one from below. And all down that line where the roof, or the seam in the vinyl top was, the roof is all rusted out. So we're going to have to cut out those rust spots, weld in some repair panels, and then fix it. We're going to put a vinyl top back on, so I don't have to make it look perfect, but I do want to replace all the rusted out metal and the metal with the holes in it. Coming around to the back window opening, that's in pretty good shape. And there are a couple of small dents and low spots on the roof. It should be easy to fill up and, you know, try and pound them out from the bottom. But those I don't think those are going to present too much of a challenge. So why don't we go over and lift up the hood, and I can show you what this car's got for an engine. Alright, here we are with the hood up, and you can see this is the standard 289 that came with all of these Mustangs if you had a V8. This one was originally, according to the VIN number on the car, a 2-barrel engine, but somebody put on a 4-barrel carburetor with the 4-barrel manifold. So somebody did a little bit of work to try and step up the engine. I don't think that it really does much for you to put just a bigger carb on and not do any internal work. I don't think you really get that much more power out of it. So we're going to look around and see if we want to retain that, or maybe even use some kind of a head, manifold, and carburetor kit, or maybe even try a fuel injection instead of a carburetor on this car. The engine looks nice and blue, and that's because the man that I bought the car from painted it, and it hasn't run since he took all of the accessories off the front end part of the engine to paint the car. So it didn't run when I got it, so I've never seen it run, never heard it run. We're hoping that this engine isn't seized up on the inside. I don't think it is, but we've never actually seen it in operation. I look inside over here, I can tell that this inner fender apron on the driver's side, it looks to me like it's got a little bit of a dent in it, a little bit of a bow. I'm not sure if that's really critical. If it's something that we really have to worry about, we'll take a look at it when we get around to that part. That shock tower connection to that inner fender apron, I don't know if you can see it with the glare in here. We'll try and get in. Looks kind of crummy, like somebody welded it in, put some screws in it. So I'll take a close look at that when I get that fender off and get to working on this part of the engine compartment and decide if we need to clean that up or reinforce it or do something to it. You can see this car doesn't have a power brake booster. We're going to change all of that. This is a drum brake on all four wheels car right now as it sits. I'm going to change that. We're going to put a power assisted brake system with disc brakes on the front. It's just a much safer way to drive now, and I don't want to have just plain old manual drum brakes on all four wheels. So this is it. This is what we're going to be working on. Like I said, it's a 67 Mustang. It came from, the VIN number says it was assembled in San Jose, California. So I know that it's been a West Coast car all its life. And now it's out here in Connecticut. And hopefully we can do a good job of restoring it, getting it back on the road. So let me shove it in the garage and I'll show you what I was talking about on that rear end with the twist in the frame that I think I see.